Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, new data from the Ghana Statistical Service shows Ghana's economy expanded by 5.1% in August, driven by the services sector. We'll hear more from the government statistician.
That 5.1% was also influenced by growth of 9.6% we saw in the services sector. And that's an improvement of the growth in the same period last year of 2.6%.
Also coming up, economic advisor to the president said allays traders' concerns over the new VAT reforms.
Members of, say, GUTA, right? In all probability, it's not, you are not applying the flat rate because you belong to GUTA.
Also, ECOWAS pushes for regional alignment under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Walk towards a common market. We also lay the benchmark for the African Union to follow suit as well. So we want to build upon our own regional integration processes to also enable us to take advantage of the continental market.
My name is Darryl Kyle. Thanks for joining us. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Ghana's economy expanded by 5.1% in August, according to the latest monthly indicator of economic activity and growth released by the Ghana Statistical Service. The publication, which provides monthly GDP estimates, shows that the August growth was largely driven by strong performance in the services sector, which grew by more than 4%. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu has outlined additional factors contributing to the improved economic activity.
5.1% growth was actually influenced largely by growth in agriculture, which was 7.4% this August. And this agricultural growth of 7.4% is actually a significant, in fact, more than a tripling of what we saw in August 2024, which was 2.3%. So that's the agricultural growth rate in August 2025. Then if you come to industry, unfortunately, we saw a contraction in the industry sector. In fact, the whole industry sector contracted by 1.8%. And if you compare it to the significant expansion we saw last year, August 2024, of 9.1%, this is very, very low. But again, we have revised the July numbers, and the August growth for July 2025 was a contraction of 3.1%. So even though the August 2025 contraction was a contraction of 1.8%, you see that it is better, or it's an improvement over the July 3.1%. Finally, that 5.1% was also influenced by growth of 9.6% we saw in the services sector. And that's an improvement of the growth in the same period last year of 2.6%.
Now, the economic advisor to the president said Tekpe has allayed the Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA's concerns over the new VAT reforms. The union had warned that the shift to 20% VAT would hurt small and medium traders and distort competition. However, Tekpe explained that the 20% VAT now includes GET Fund and NHIL, allowing registered businesses to claim full input VAT credit and funds, while the flat rate under the modified tax regime replaces both income tax and VAT for eligible traders.
The members of, say, GUTA, right, in all probability, it's not, you are not applying the flat rate because you belong to GUTA. You are not applying the flat rates, you know. So GUTA may be made up of taxpayers whose turnover is above, you know, the 250, and now to be 750. And I think that's a reality.
Yeah.
If you go to if we had a comprehensive income tax system with your tax identification number and everything, since most of them are also importers, outcomes will show that their turnover for the year, you are talking about the year, the imports, which is the cost, before they even add, you know, domestic costs, and then add profit margin and whatever, you are talking about total annual turnover. It's likely to be above 250 million. So the fact that we do not have the comprehensive system to be checking, you know, business activity, you know, the fact that they operate alongside the informal sector.
So if I get you, you're looking at how much they make.
That's it.
From their sales.
Yes, and the presumption is that you can't keep records. Mm-hmm. Now, that is why when your turnover exceeds the threshold, literate or illiterate, formal or informal, you must register for VAT.
Okay. Now,
okay. Now let me make another point.
Yeah.
That's why you must register for VAT. Then your method of accounting changes. When you import, you pay VAT at the port.
Yes.
When you sell, you have come to add margin. So let's say you import 200 to simplify it. You add your margin, you add your expenditure, everything, and you sell at 250, right? You would have paid, let's use 10% to simplify it. So 200, you would have paid 20 at the port. 250, you would have paid 25 domestic. But in that 250 is the 200 on which you had already paid the tax. And this is where the value addition comes in.
Well, joining me on Zoom is Head of Finance at Merban Capital, Nelson Kujo Kwagweji, to respond to these latest analysis or maybe assessment from the President's Special Advisor on the Economy, Mr. Tekpe. Good afternoon to you. How will the new 20% VAT, which now includes GET Fund and NHIL, affect prices that small and medium businesses charge customers?
Yeah, thank you very much, Daryl, and good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your cherished viewers and listeners. We all agree that the current VAT rate system in Ghana is one of the highest within the West African sub-region, not even Africa. We also agree that the current computation of VAT has inbuilt cascading and distortionary effect. To the extent that the 1% COVID levy is taken out, we expect prices to generally reduce. Once prices reduce, we expect that the quantum of taxes that we pay for the COVID levy will be injected back into the system and into people's pockets. So generally, with the recomputation that we are doing now, where we'll add the GET Fund, the NHIL, to the standard rate of 15% to get a 20%, we generally expect prices to reduce when you go to the market to buy any goods.
So, I mean, how does the ability to get back VAT paid on business purchases work, and how will it really help the traders?
Okay, so VAT actually work on what you call output and input relationship. And so the output VAT is what you get when you sell goods and services, and the input is what you pay when you buy goods or services. And it's the difference between the output and the input that is paid to the GRA. And this is what businesses have been doing since we have introduced VAT into this country. But one of the canons of taxation is simplicity. Simplicity in the sense that when the administrative procedures in terms of filing, in terms of payment are very simple, you expect some high level of compliance regarding tax payment. And so with the revision of the VAT structure now, looking at how simple the structure is, we expect some level of compliance. And don't forget that the tax revenue that government intends to generate this year is purely hinged on tax compliance, tax education, and tax conscientization. And so it is basically based on the output and input relationship. Where the output outweighs the input, you go and file and pay what is needed to be paid.
And a bit more explanation. What does it mean for some traders to pay the flat tax instead of the both the income tax and VAT? Will it make things easier or harder for them?
Okay, so the VAT flat rate, it's actually a special, just as the technical advisor said, it's just a special collection and accounting mechanism where certain taxpayers are made to be under that system or that regime. Now, the difference between the flat rate and the standard rate is that for the flat rate, there is a marginal rate of 4% that you apply on the, the taxable supply. And then also under the flat rate, you don't, recover your input, VAT as compared to what is done under the standard rate. Again, the flat rate is restricted to wholesalers and retailers. And so you must apply and register for you to be classified under that regime. And one special thing about the flat rate regime operated is that they issued a simplified VAT invoice. Reason why when you go to the shopping centers, you go to any mall, they give you a piece of paper. So that is basically the difference between the VAT flat rate and the standard rate. As to whether it will make life easy or not, well, the threshold has been raised to 750,000. And just as the technical advisor said, the fact that you belong to GUTA doesn't mean your threshold cannot be more than 750. And once it is 750, it means that you have to move straight forward to the standard rate regime, which will now be 20% starting from January 2026.
Would there still be unfair competition amongst traders under this new VAT scheme? I mean, those are what some of the concerns GUTA raised. Does the government's plan fix that?
Well, I don't think the issue has to do with competition among or between traders. Daryl, we have a country to build. Tax revenue is the backbone of every economy. As at the third quarter, government intended to raise about 162 billion Ghana cedis. But government ended up raising about 154 billion Ghana cedis, representing about 11% of GDP. For 2026, government intends to raise about 268 billion Ghana cedis. And out of these 268 billion Ghana cedis, about 223% is tax revenue. And so the question basically is not about competition, but how simplified the VAT system is now in order for taxpayers to actually comply. And as I did indicate on another platform, with the revision that we have made to the VAT system now, is going to engender some level of tax compliance. And we expect that to enhance government revenue. If you look at all the ambitious projects that government intends to embark upon, tax revenue is the only way government can get money to undergo those projects. So I believe that members of GUTA and the economic operators in general within the country must accept, the new structure, since it is more business friendly and investor friendly.
And hopefully there's some clarity for them as well. Thank you so much, Nelson Kujokwageji, Head of Finance, Melbourne Capital. I appreciate your time on the marketplace. You're watching the marketplace. Turning to other news, Director of Trade at the ECOWAS Commission, Kawole Sofola, says aligning national strategies with regional ambitions and at the AFTA is critical to unlocking West Africa's full economic potential as Accra hosts the ECOWAS initiatives for economic expansion. There's more in the following report.
Accra becomes the center of West Africa's economic and agricultural transformation agenda as ECOWAS convenes 4 major technical events aimed at accelerating regional integration and strengthening economic cooperation across member states. Addressing the press ahead of the ECOWAS initiatives for economic integration, Director of Trade at the ECOWAS Commission, Kawole Sofola, stressed the need to align national strategies with the regional vision under the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Our progress has gone beyond that of a free trade area into a customs union, and as we walk towards a common market, we also lay the benchmark for the African Union to follow suit as well. So we want to build upon our own regional integration processes to also enable us to take advantage of the continental market. The second area is to see how we can support our member states in developing and also implementing their own national AFCFTA implementation strategies. The third is to ensure that we can strengthen our productive and trade capacity. The fourth is to ensure we can connect our markets. And the fifth is to see how we can make the AFCFTA an opportunity for women, the youth, and the more vulnerable in society.
Monitoring and Evaluation Program Officer at the ECOWAS Commission, Fatimata Lucia Sewo, highlighted the importance of strengthening the system to enhance evidence-based policy decisions.
Over the years, and as we keep going, data is really very important. I know that a few years ago, with funding from European Union, ECOWAS was able to establish an ECOWAS Agriculture Information System. There has been some challenges managing that system, especially within the countries, because in time past, when we spoke about information systems, it was largely hardware, taking computers, sending it to countries. We want to change that narrative. We want to change the dynamics. We want to see how we go automated.
Deputy Head of Mission at the Ghana High Commission, Dr. Tenewa Asamoah, emphasized Ghana's continued support for ECOWAS-led regional development.
We have acknowledged that there's a need for us to deepen trade that will engender prosperity in the region. So, from the mission point of view, we have come here to support ECOWAS to ensure that those meetings that are being organized are successful, making follow-ups and also making sure that we get representation from the government side. Ghana is going to continue to commit to the projects of ECOWAS to ensure that its domestic policies are aligned with those of ECOWAS protocols, to ensure that we all are together in this development that we are seeking to gain.
The ECOWAS Initiatives for Economic Integration will bring together citizens from member states, representatives from Ghana's Ministries of Agriculture, Fisheries, Trade and Customs, private sector actors, and civil society organizations.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. Quick break, we'll be right back. Welcome back to The Marketplace. The CIMG President, Michael Abiu, has stressed that Ghana's 24-hour economy will succeed only if sales professionals are adequately equipped to drive continuous revenue generation. He made the remark on the sidelines of the launch of the 2026 National Sales Leaders Conference and Awards in Accra.
National Sales Conference and Awards 2026 is poised to address the critical issues shaping Ghana's sales performance, business growth, and workforce capacity. Over the years, the platform has evolved into a key reference point for policy dialogue, skills development, and national industry standards. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch event in Accra, CIMG President and convener of the Conference and Awards, Michael Abiu, stressed the need to better position sales professionals to drive revenue, especially as government rolls out its 24-hour economy program.
That is the salespeople that must create that must create the interest, and that must sell the product. It's the salespeople that must generate the revenues that would, and enhance your capacity to be able to have extended business, hours. So just imagine that the bank decides I'm going to do 24 hours, and nobody is coming to the bank to transact business during those extended hours. What then happens? So you will need the salespeople to be able to push that agenda. So what we are thinking is this, and what we are saying is this, that in order to be able to build this 24-hour economy, in order to industrialize Ghana and get Ghana to work 24 hours, that you need the salespeople to be at the center of it, driving the market demand, driving the customers into your businesses and into your and buying your products within those extended hours.
The National Treasurer of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kabute Caesar, also underscored the importance of recognizing and rewarding sales professionals when they meet or exceed their targets.
Creating this platform for awards, for recognition, widening the scope of the role of the salesperson. And I believe that this platform is going to create that consciousness that, yeah, the salespersons or the sales force in our organization need to be given a second look, and the way they are managed, in the way they are resourced, and the way they are motivated to meet their targets and things of that nature.
The National Sales Leaders Conference and Awards 2026, themed Redefining Sales Excellence for Today's Dynamic Market, has been officially launched in Accra and is scheduled to take place from June 17th to 19th, 2026.
All right, that's our program this afternoon. Thanks for watching, everyone. There is more news on our website, nigeriaonline.com/business. Government gives financial clearance for persons recruited into public sector months before 2024 to be paid. You can get that story there as well. Ghana's economy grew at a rate of 5.1% in August 2025. We've been reporting about that in today's bulletin. More analysis coming your way. nigeriaonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We have a summary of international business news to stay.